for somebody to show me the way. What do you have available for somebody who's looking for a mentor?
That's a very good question. The question was, we all long to have somebody to be able to give us feedback as a student, meaning, where can I find a mentor? What are the systems and mechanisms that are available for today's students to have a mentor in mind? The first of which is, I'm proud to say that the AAYSP actually has a process, a system that is available for that. And you can talk to the organizers. They are actually in high schools and middle schools. I think Salina is definitely one of the, I know for a fact Salina is one of the main schools that they are involved in. That is your main thing, is these guys are already giving up their time. They're volunteers. Take it. Other mechanisms is, of course, your acquaintances as parents. I'm sure you know so many people that are in different fields. Just ask them, approach them. It's not a shame. But the AAYSP definitely has something that you can follow up with them. And it's available on their website at AAYSP.org. Other questions? Yes?
Member for the AAYSP, and I'm just a little frustrated that everyone here is interested in education. We're all educated or interested in education as parents. But my challenges here is, how do we reach out to those who are not here, who are taxi drivers, store owners, who don't know anything about education? I'm proposing maybe we can just create a team that reaches out to those parents, goes to them, provide them with free food, bringing them to a lecture hall or go to their homes and giving them a nice talk about the importance of education and that it is actually an investment in your kids. It may not be a short-term investment. It may take 20 years. Start getting, them out of education, but they have to know this. They have to be talked to, reached out to, rather than just talking to each other and we're all, it's like the American idiom that says we're preaching to the choir. And that's
the main comment is, I'll allow for, once again, is, we're all here and we're preaching to one another. It's pretty much, with the idiom of you're preaching to the choir, how do you take it outside? And to be honest with you, this is the main thing, is how do you get outside your circle? How do you think outside that? And my main suggestion is, people are concerned with time. They don't have it, whether they like it or whether they don't. Some people are lazy, they just don't want to make the effort. Other people are seriously just short for time. So my main suggestion is to give these short talks, these short sessions, and maybe a CD format, and maybe some sort of an audio-visual format, to people and have them in a central spot. And say, you know what, you might not have went to the conference, but here is what is available for us at no fee. We don't need anything from you. The other thing is to really take advantage of the religious institutions, meaning the mosques for the Yemeni communities. Every single one, whether you're a taxi driver or you're not, you're going to have to go to Salat al-Jumu'ah. Make that type of an effort of reaching out to these individuals, whether it is through announcement or whether it is through distribution of these audio visuals, through that. If not, at least have it available for that central spot. Use that central spot to put together these mini-series. I'm talking about, let's have Dr. Such and Such tonight. And we'll have him inside the masjid, and he'll give just a 15-minute talk, and that's it. He goes home. And then maybe a week later, we'll follow with another session. A week later, we'll follow with another session. To give it kind of in a short meal position to be able to digest it relatively, so that you don't strain people with time. I mean, to anticipate that people who are taxi drivers to give up their whole weekend, the Memorial Day weekend, and to be honest with you, as a taxi driver, I'm not giving up that time. You know how much money I'd be racking in? But I will more than happy to, give up maybe 15 minutes between Maghrib and Isha, and I'll go. There was a suggestion amongst the audience. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you very much for this.
Oh, yeah.
And I can see half of my presentation come to you, so you can continue what you do.
No, Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is what I have, concluded. I'm sure you have a lot of.
Believe me, I don't have anything to offer more than what you say.
Go ahead, Dr.
I just want to comment about the idiom we use. We preach to the choir. In this case, this is not a choir we're trying to preach to. This is a choir we're trying to activate. And this is really the community, and this group are the community leaders and activists who we'd like to go back to the community and really make that change.
I guess my suggestion would be, now that we're here and we gather together, let's do work for AAYSP, and let's get the people inside the membership and then receive communication when events are going to happen, and when we go to the schools and when we go to the mosques and when we go, and have them be present and bring people with us to sign up and be members.
Well, how are they going to do that? Go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. I think we have to be careful not to make the assumption that somebody's job dictates their level of education, or that it dictates what they think of education. I think it's
That's a very poignant concept that we gotta kind of understand where we stand on that. Other comments, suggestions?
I just want to mention that the networking site for AAYSP is AAYSP.com. You can reach the educated Yemenis, AAYSP.com, not .org. .org is the organization.
.com, not .org. I apologize. In the back.
Talking about business, this is it.
This is it. This is something that I really anticipated and I really was expecting. So, you guys really livened up. I know sometimes a lot of bread kind of, lowers you down. If you ate some meat, tryptophan kind of kicks into the brain. But I hope that we're energized for the rest of the session. But I love the interaction that is occurring in the back.
All right. You know what's up here? Consider technology in general that when you look at it and cause all different problems. You know, I said your house websites actually use the internet stuff. Are there any ways to get them to learn how to use it before they get on a computer? Because most parents are just like that stubborn. They won't get onto it once they know the benefit of it before they just hop onto a computer.
The question is, the computer is the devil.
Yeah.
How do you get individuals with that mentality to basically approach it slowly and get to the point to be able to use the how-to websites and develop these processes? The main thing is really through these mini-series, mini-sessions that I was discussing and putting my idea out there. If you basically say the same thing over and over and over again, not only do you believe it, but others believe it. During the mini-series, you can tell them, look, this is available at the following. This is available at the following. They can slowly be trained. We are human beings. We are pulled to a specific behavior by incremental steps. And that's what we need is through these mini-series, the 15, 20-minute series, make sure you put in a website, several websites in there. In addition to that, make sure there is also a process that will support them wanting to learn this. They might not even have a computer at home. For the purpose of it's the devil, I'm not going to bring it into my household. There are institutions, religious and nonprofit organizations that have computer labs ready to be used. All you need is just to sign up and participate in it. So it's a multi-step tutorial that you need to, number one, repeat this process, and number two, to allow them to go ahead and have a place where they can begin to explore that option. Other questions? Yes?
Comment here is, I think if we're going to need to, to ask the parents to do a certain behavior, go to certain websites, listen to the CD, or education is important for your child. We need to change their paradigm about why we are asking them to do that, because it's going to be almost, I think, in my opinion, pointless if if they don't have a motivation to understand why they need to do that, why it is important to do that. And I think that's our job here, to reach out to parents and out of all the information, out of all the great discussions that we're gathering here, is to reach out to parents, communicate the message, try to cause that change in their mentality about what is important, why this is very important, why do you need to seriously think about this, and then it will be easier to direct them to do certain things or behave in a certain way.
That is an excellent point, and to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of my philosophy from any military regimes, but if we've learned anything from the United States military and their endeavors over the world is, you got to work with the locality, with the leaders of the communities, in order to allow for certain paradigms and certain thoughts to be changed. So what we as individuals have the responsibility to do is go to the community leaders, religious or otherwise, and tell them, can we focus on the following? Just can we feed this to the community's head and make sure that they understand the concept of education, higher education? That's the first. The second, and I think it's the most important, is the grassroots movement of this. You and I know a neighbor, you and I know a relative, you and I know somebody that might not know a lot of this that I just shared today. Are you going to take that time to go ahead and say, you know what, I went to a conference this weekend and I found the following. Go ahead, So it is obligatory upon us, individuals, to go to whomever we can find. And I'm not talking to take the next step or walk 70,000 miles in the snow uphill to do this, just in your daily activity. Just say, you know what, here's the following, and I think it might benefit you. And I think that grassroots movement eventually will be that rock or that pebble that is dropped within the river to allow for the greater Doppler effect. Go ahead.
How are we going to assist you as a media to assist your effort by providing awareness of high education that through using the power of the media, that's very important, we have to mention and focus on.
I concur fully. I concur fully that the media is a great outlet. It can reach a massive amount of people, and I'm glad somebody did mention it. I think the representatives at AAYSP.com will be more than happy to work with the media outlets, and I'm sure they have, and they will continue to do so.
I was the first one to assist your effort, guys. Contact me, and Adel is excellent working with me. I mean, I'm from Good Morning, Michigan, and Radio Baladi, so I would be gladly supporting your effort.
I don't know how to describe Adil's effort, but it is definitely, I would say, tireless. So, jazakumullah khair, subhanakallah wa bihamdika.
I'd like to thank everyone for making that discussion so productive and so just conductive to everything that Dr. Yacoub was saying. Our next three presenters they're excellent speakers, and I'd like the three of them to walk up to the stage, and then I'll introduce them one at a time as they speak. I'll just say their names as I go through it. Abdelhakeem Alsadah, Dr. Nasser Zawiya, and Jihad Zawiya. Of these three speakers, our first will be Abdelhakeem Alsadah. He's presenting challenges facing Yemeni American organizations, and he's here as president of the National Association of Yemeni Americans. Please take the stage.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I have to tell you, and I have to thank our friends and sisters at the AAYSP, not for this great job, but for making the podium taller so I could feel taller. So thank you. And alhamdulillah wa salatu salam ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen. I would like to first tell you that there is no words that would cover what the previous speakers have done. And when I told him I conceded my time to him, I really meant it. Because I learned so much today. And I have to ask all of you right here, how many times you have been to a conference and you have learned such data that's been given about the community? Wouldn't you think a great applause, a warm applause to those people who have made this possible?